I note that the terms of reference for the Charlton inquiry have been published and that they will be subject to debate later in the afternoon. And I wonder, Minister, if subsequent to events last night, are we looking at an audition here this morning, our line-up in front of us? But I want to bring you back to another commitment that the government made about establishing a commission of inquiry, to which you seem to be reversing on, and that is the commission of inquiry in relation to Project Eagle. As you know, in 2015 it was reported that Project Eagle, which is a loan portfolio of 850 properties across Northern Ireland, was sold for €1.6 billion by NAMA. A huge amount of concern that this is not the true value for this amount of properties, and that the true value is not sought or not delivered. And the Controller and Auditor General have made some very damning findings in relation to that. Being allegations of political involvement, both in the north and here, and representations that favoured one buyer over another, and these have been covered by a BBC Spotlight programme in detail. Cerebus, who were the successful buyer, actually met with the Department of Finance before the sale was closed, which I would imagine is completely inappropriate, and I'd ask you to comment on that. And indeed, Minister Noonan actually met Cerebus the day before the close. There were reports and records of contact being made between Minister Noonan and ministers from Northern Ireland, particularly the then First Minister Peter Robinson and then Minister Sammy Wilson. It's alleged also that there is £7 million involved in fixing the deal, involved in an offshore account, and that this is also now being investigated by an Assembly Finance Committee. There are allegations that decisions in NAMA were taken without adequate notes being taken, without proper management of the conflicts of interest which were apparent, that there was a flawed sales process, and basically an inability of NAMA to show that they got the best value of money for the state. Indeed, the sales involved so much money that there are investigations underway by the Securities and Exchange Commission in the United States, as well as the US Department of Justice. I know the PSC are finalising a report, indeed as we speak, in relation to the sale, and they've been working on it for the past number of months. But the government did commit on an all-party basis to a commission of inquiry into Project Eagle some weeks ago. However, Minister Noonan said that he was demurring from that commission of inquiry and that he didn't feel that there were adequate grounds for that commission of inquiry. I want, Minister, firstly for you to commit that the government will establish the committee of inquiry and to outline what the timeline is for the terms of reference into this inquiry.
I'd like to thank the Deputy for his question. First of all, I'd like to say that I was in the House here when we established NAMA, and one of the things that we took huge care to ensure was that the Minister for Finance of the day could have no possibility of interfering in the commercial activities of NAMA. That was written into the law very carefully, and I was on the opposition benches, and that was done for good reason, to make sure that NAMA was established on an independent basis that would make its own commercial decisions. I think that has been at the bedrock of the operations of NAMA, and that means very clearly that the Minister for Finance is completely cut off from the way in which they make decisions about Cerebus, about Project Eagle, or about any other matter in which they are dealing. And I think it's very important that the House is aware of that very clear separation. Now, in terms of the idea of establishing a commission of investigation, I understand that the Taoiseach met with the leaders of the opposition and it was agreed in principle that such a commission would be established. But also we know, as you adverted to yourself, that the PAC is doing a report on this issue, following up on the report of the Controller and Auditor General. And I think it is appropriate that we would hear the outcome of the deliberations of the PAC, which is itself an organ of this House, before we make a decision in plenary here on the terms of reference and the appropriate scope of any commission of investigation. And I think that is the approach that's been taken, and it is wholly appropriate. I think the issue of the investigation, the results will fall where they may, and the government is fully open to such an approach.
Thank you. Deputy Calleary.
Minister, if, to quote your own phrase, the Minister is completely cut off, why did he meet Cerebus the day before the deal on Project Eagle went through? Why did he say only a few weeks ago in this House that in his view there did not seem to be adequate grounds for a commission? That doesn't suggest to me that a Minister is completely cut off. And what we're looking at here is, did NAMA get full return for taxpayers' money? Did it deliver the best return possible to taxpayers? And in the view of the Controller and Auditor General, it didn't. Our watchdog, our spending watchdog. So the notion that the Minister could be cut off is failed in that particular instance. And in fact, taxpayers have been failed, and we need to get answers. So I welcome your commitment that the Commission will be established. I want to give us some sort of idea that as soon we expect PSE to publish the report over the next fortnight, how quickly will you as a government move to establish the Commission on that basis?
Just to make it clear, there is absolutely no question of the Minister having acted inappropriately. He met a former US Treasury Secretary who happened to be an employee of Cerebus. He had no hand, act or part in the decisions of NAMA, who are established independently under statute to make their decisions entirely on their own. And it is their decisions and their process of decision-making which is under scrutiny, as you rightly recognise. The Minister for Finance has not been involved in their decision-making process, either about the selection of tenderers or any of the other matters to which the Controller and Auditor General has raised questions. So the issue that is before the PAC is whether the approach taken by NAMA was adequate. The Minister for Finance has been fully open and has participated fully in the PAC discussions and has been very open with the committee. So I think it's very clear that we have set up legislation that ensures that NAMA makes its decision independently of any politician. That is operating. The PAC, which is an independent body, has a right to scrutinise the outcome of that, and if we feel it in this House that a commission of inquiry, which has been agreed in principle, ought to be done, we will make that decision. But it's entirely to make sure that there is proper public accountability for decisions made on a delegated basis to NAMA, which was entirely delegated to make those commercial decisions independent of the Minister for Finance or any other politician.